The White Ship. She was one of the fastest vessels that was ever built. The man who should be king of the English now, the son of King Henry, was on board when she sailed off. And with the prince there were 140 knights and many nobles, all on their way from Normandy to England. They say the ship hit the rocks, and then a fire broke out. Even before the White Ship had departed, the prince and his men had begun to drink and get violent. Monks that were meant to bless the voyage were then forced to disembark. Some say the ship had been cursed. The king's son and many of his family were pulled down into the Black Sea that night.
You're forgetting one important detail. Not only these monks, but also Stephen of Blois, the king's nephew, left the ship before it embarked. They say he got ill.
That old rumor.
The same Stephen who calls himself the King of the English now.
What? That cannot be a coincidence.
Yes, it can be. Of course he's king now. He survived. He is the king's nephew.
What do you think, my lord?
I think Stephen is a clever man. Clever enough to have his whole family perish. But why he would want to rule that god-forsaken rock, I will never understand.
What makes you say that? I love my country.
Then why are you leaving?
Well, because I want to see something new.
I'll tell you what you're going to see. A proper country, where people know how to behave.
What about you? Why are you leaving?
I'm looking for someone.
For who? I guess I should stay out of other people's business. Forgive me.
You English do talk a lot, don't you?
I just don't know how to feel about leaving my country for the first time. I mean, how should anyone feel?
Excited?
I don't know. Maybe I'm just running away.
You should all get some rest. It will not be long now till we reach Cherbourg.
Thank the Lord. I can't wait to be back.
In the late summer of 1142, I had left my home country, England, for good. My old life lay in shambles, as did my former home of Kingsbridge. Having failed both my friends and family, I had set out to find my baby's father, the man I still loved with all my heart, Jack Jackson. And so early one morning in July, I finally arrived on the shores of Normandy. With nothing on me but a pouch of coin and a young, curious face yet unnamed, who was just as unfamiliar to this new world as was I. You're still here?
Oh, it's you. I'm just trying to get my feet used to good solid ground again. The last bit of our voyage wasn't exactly my pint of ale.
I'm looking for someone. A red-haired mason called Jack Jackson. He came to France about a year ago or so.
A fellow mason, great. Unfortunately, I wouldn't know a thing. After all, I just arrived here with you.
I know, but should you meet someone like that on your journey, tell him Aliena of Shiring is looking for him.
All right. Jack Jackson. I'll keep an eye out for you.
Thank you. That hammer you're carrying, do you happen to be a mason?
Actually, I am. You have a keen eye, mistress.
I guess I just know a mason when I see one.
To be honest, I haven't been one long. Just finished my apprenticeship in Salisbury. Before that, I used to shear sheep with my parents, but I guess that wasn't really for me. Father still hates me for leaving, though.
What will you do to find work here as a mason?
Don't know. That's for me to find out. All I heard was that the wages are better over here.
So you'll just travel from town to town and look for employment?
Right. And I'll start in Lassay. A fellow mason told me about the abbey there. He said these Normans build their churches quite differently than we do back home. I need to see that with my own eyes. Maybe learn a thing or two.
Do many masons go to Lassay?
I dunno. It's really just a tiny town. The mason who told me just happened to do some repairs there once. It's likely he told others as well.
I left my old life as well.
Scary, isn't it? To start off fresh and all that.
Well, you definitely sound more excited than scared.
Oh, I am excited. Wouldn't anyone be?
I don't know. Maybe. Have a safe journey.
Oh, thank you. You too.
Red-haired mason. You must have landed here sometime late last summer.
Another ginger in Normandy? I wouldn't have noticed, even if he was carrying a hammer instead of a fishing rod. Maybe you should ask someone in Barfleur. That's where all the travellers come through, the pilgrims and kings. Their lot rarely lands in Cherbourg with the fortress passing back and forth between Stephen of Blois and Geoffrey of Anjou. Why you even came to Cherbourg in the first place baffles me.
It was the earliest ship I could get.
You must be in some hurry, madam.
Let's just say I needed to get away before I changed my mind.
Fine with me. Who am I to judge?
What other routes are there besides going through Barfleur?
Oh, I don't know, really. You need to ask the locals about that. But Barfleur sounds like a good place to start. Shake my hand and I'll take you there.
Do you know the road to Lassay?
Been there, seen it. But I hope you're not planning to go there on foot. Tell you what, you give me some coins and I'll treat you to me wagon. You can even change your destination once we're on the road, would you say?
All right. Take me out of town.
All right. Where do you need to be?
We went to Barfleur, a scenic port town built on granite. It was the biggest harbour in Normandy and the main entry point for the Normans to their new possession of the Isle of England. I talked to some of the sailors and fishermen, but no one had remembered seeing Jack. How could they? Almost a year had passed since he, a simple mason, had journeyed through the busy town, a town with no memory other than that of the last king who passed through on yet another one of his violent conquests. Maybe I was approaching this the wrong way. What had drawn him to France in the first place? The distance to Kingsbridge? Or something specific? What was my lead? Lessay was tiny, but as it turned out, worth the trip. In the small abbey church of the Trinity, I met a monk who claimed to have talked to a man fitting Jack's description. He'd been fascinated by the abbey's rib vaulting and had asked the monks countless questions about the place's construction. The monk apologized that he couldn't tell me where Jack had traveled next, but I didn't mind. I lay down to sleep on the floor of the abbey guest house and, for the first time in almost a year, I felt relief. As I drifted into sleep, I hugged our baby tight and whispered into his tiny pink ear, "We're going to find your daddy." My father had once told me tales of the Mont Saint-Michel. Long ago, the Archangel Michael had urged Hubert of Avranches to build an abbey on a lonely rock on the ocean by burning a hole into his head. They say one can go and see his penetrated skull on display in the church of his hometown. It was a windy day when I arrived, and the place was crowded with pilgrims and jongleurs. I remembered Jack's fascination with these tellers of stories. I spoke to one who was just taking a break. As it happened, he had indeed met Jack, although not in Mont Saint-Michel, but on a road heading east from there. Apparently, Jack had been hopelessly tracking jongleurs who might have known his father, Jack Cherbourg. But as he'd been gradually running out of money, he'd intended to look for work in Le Mans or Tours. That was about 6 months ago. I was catching up. Going to Le Mans reminded me of all the trouble I'd left behind in England. 30 years ago, Le Mans had been conquered by the Plantagenet Geoffrey of Anjou, Maud's husband. And although they'd held it ever since, other noble families kept on pulling at the city, like Maud and Stephen tearing at England. There was no sign of Jack, but I got news of a new kind of cathedral being built in Saint-Denis, just north of Paris. It was possible that Jack had gone there to learn from the craftsmen. That was, if he hadn't travelled further south, looking for work in one of the many churches in Tours, the hometown of Saint-Martin. North of Paris, I visited the construction of the great cathedral of Saint-Denis. It was far from finished, but already I could feel its magnificence. It was like nothing I'd ever seen before. I assumed if Jack had come near Paris, he would have ended up here. Unfortunately, I was wrong. No one among the army of masons raising the cathedral of Saint-Denis had known him. My stomach churned when I realized that my strenuous walk to Paris had been for naught. Good day. Are you the master builder?
What is it?
I'm looking for a mason who may have passed through here. An Englishman with carroty hair. He calls himself Jack Jackson.
A redhead?
Yes. Did you see him? He might have asked for work here.
No, I'm not looking for new masons. We're just doing repairs.
Ah, but was he here?
No, never seen him. Now, stand back, woman. Something could fall on your baby's head.
Are there other construction sites around Tours?
Well, yes. It's a big town.
And where would an outsider most likely find a job?
Dunno. Ask around.
You hesitated when I mentioned a redhead. Are you sure you haven't seen him?
Yes, I am sure.
May I talk to your workers?
No, they're busy. and I can assure you they have nothing to say on that matter.
Perhaps I'll talk to them once they've finished for the day.
It would be a waste of time. All right, he was here. Was working for me. But I had to throw him out after 2 or 3 days.
Why?
Because he was all want. Let me redesign the roof, let me make the nave lighter. All pretty ideas, but he never shut up long enough to do the work he was supposed to do. Shit, that man was almost as needy as my son when he was still a brat.
He does know a lot about his craft.
Well, I know masons like him. They grow up gifted, but without a mote of discipline in their guts. Can't work with someone like that.
Do you know where he went next?
No idea. Maybe to Limoges or Angoulême. Maybe even to La Rochelle. Seemed to have plans for every cathedral on God's green earth, but none for himself.
I understand. I'll leave you to it then.
Bon voyage.
We had just left Tours when I suddenly felt dizzy. I stopped and made rest, trying to catch my breath, then lost my breakfast in a ditch at the side of the road. To my horror, our baby too had grown pale, his breath shallow like that of an old man. I tried not to panic, but the next inn was a long distance away and we couldn't stay on the road where it was wet and cold. Back in Tours, the fever got worse. I remember people carrying me into a room, laying me on a bed. I tried to feed my baby, but after that, everything turned into a blur. When I awoke, Jack was standing next to my bed. He scolded me for following him. "You know you could go anywhere you want," he whispered. "Why be stupid and follow me?" I tried to answer, but he just opened the window and jumped out, heading toward ancient Greece, or maybe all the way to Arabia. And in my feverish mind, I followed him. Further I went, the angrier I got. For years, I'd been fighting for my family. I'd committed myself to an oath to my father. I'd built up a business to sustain it, and even married a man I despised so I could create a future for the people around me. I'd known nothing but my duty to the men in my life, while the man I was trying to find lived a life of casual irresponsibility. He travelled the world on a whim to learn about mathematics and philosophy, while I had to raise the child he'd fathered. When could I ever do anything just for myself? I asked the world as I went on. I'd travelled in a circle all the way to the edge of the world and back, only to return to the place of our failure. With my eyes closed, I listened to the sound of ripping yarn and crumbling walls, and of coaches carrying good people away into a cloud of crimson dust. When the last moat had settled, I opened my eyes again and found myself in a dirty little room. An old maid was sitting next to my bed and smiled at me, then handed me my baby. Oh, dear God, he still looked so pale. I tried to feed him, but he refused. Oh, please, God, let him live. Don't punish him for my own sins. I gently caressed his head until finally he put his mouth to my breast and drank more and more, becoming greedier with every swallow. We had both been spared. We rested one more day. Then I gathered my things and headed back to the cathedral to thank the Lord for his mercy. I thank you, dear Lord.
All right,
I
steady
thank
now.
you for having spared my child. I thank you for...
Don't let go until it's done.
But why are you showing mercy on me? I failed everyone I cared about. I failed Jack. I failed my brother. And if I never return, I would also break the oath I had given Father. It's just that I feel like I've never had a life of my own. I've always fought for others. And this may be the very first time that I fight for something that I only want for myself. Maybe I should just go back and help rebuild Kingsbridge. Maybe Jack doesn't even care for me anymore. Amen. Huh. I've seen one of those before.
It's amazing, isn't it? The man who did that really had it in him.
Had what in him?
The spirit of a true mason. It's a shame that the master let him go. In just 1 month, he did so many things.
The master builder said he'd fired him after just 3 days.
Did he? Well, maybe that's how he remembers it. The two didn't really see eye to eye, you know? To tell you the truth, everyone thinks that he feared for his own job having someone like that around. The last thing Jack did was carve that corbel. It was the one thing the master let him do. Then when he was done, he was asked to leave.
It bears so much pain.
I know. Jacques worked very hard on it. He was impatient and had a temper, but you could see that he tried to overcome it. Conquering that rock was very important to him.
Oh, I understand that so well. Do you happen to know where he went next?
He wanted to walk the pilgrim trail to Santiago de Compostela.
The Camino? The Way of St. James?
He said he might find someone there who knew his father.
Just one more thing. How was he when he left?
Never thought about that. Relieved, I guess. He seemed ready for something new.
Thank you so much for your help.
Think nothing of it. And good luck on your travels. May you find what you are looking for.
Isn't it odd? Just when you stop looking, you come across the most curious of things. Like these 3 devices that one of my merchants brought back from Baghdad.
Oh no. Is it another one of your Banu Musa toys, Rashid?
They're not toys, Adriel. They're objects of scholarly ingenuity and reflection.
I will let my valued friend from the north do the honors. Jack, if you may. And then to that wondrous donkey next to the entrance.
He likes to take his time, doesn't he?
Now, watch the head. Just any moment now. There. Did you see?
It threw up.
Rashid, this is disgusting.
Oh, far from it. Would you kindly explain how it works, Jack?
You see that bowl floating on top of the water? At the bottom of that bowl is a small hole. Through it, the bowl is slowly filled with liquid. Once it's full, it sinks, pulling a string which makes the ball drop onto a weight. This, in return, pulls the bowl up again, emptying it in the process.
Thus resetting the entire mechanism.
If you timed it perfectly, you could make it drop a ball at every hour.
Turning it into a clock. How clever.
For me, it's still nothing more than a puking donkey.
Show us more, Rashid.
Anyone care for some tea?
Thank you, my daughter. We will have some as soon as Jack has finished our presentation.
Mind if I watch?
Of course not.
So, who is this man, Rashid?
Jack is a friend of the house. A brilliant man, a scholar and a talented artist. Just the other day, he explained Euclid to me.
What is that? And now?
Now, we need to add some water. A Greek who wrote a book called The Elements of Geometry. The Egyptians translated it into Arabic, and now the Englishmen are turning it into Latin.
I could watch this man scoop up water all day. How very peculiar.
It's so beautiful it will make you cry. Just listen.
Well, how marvelous!
How does it work?
Maybe it's a miracle.
Right.
Go on, Jack. Tell them.
There's a hidden wheel inside the box. It turns an axle that in return raises and drops a sequence of small cylinders inside. These cylinders work like fingers playing a flute.
But who is blowing into the flute?
Steam.
Steam?
Yes. When I opened the pipe, it gradually pushed itself into the tube.
The power of steam. For once, I must agree, this is brilliant.
Of course! It was created by a Muslim after all.
Let's not get ahead of ourselves. What else have you got, Rashid?
One could join those two and build a singing donkey clock. One song after every hour.
That would be pretty clever.
I know, right? You could be the one to build it.
Oh, that would be unfair. It's your invention.
I would let you have it. Or we design it together.
You still haven't shown us that statuette yet.
Of course. Jack, if you may. Oh, you will love this. Just watch.
And now?
Just be patient, but don't look away. It takes some time for her to...
To do what?
Is it crying?
Isn't that amazing?
No, it's irritating. Rashid, what is going on?
It's a mystery.
Rashid, please.
We all know that there is no such thing as a man-made miracle.
And this piece of wood is very clearly made by man.
I very much agree, my friends. But so far, none of us has an explanation.
All we know for certain is that her glassy eyes shed tears when you move her from warmth into cold.
Like a plant at sunrise? Like dew? The only difference is the surface, that's all.
I think you may be onto something.
Am I? Of course, I had no intention of disturbing your conversation. But if you can find out why there's dew gathering on a plant, you may understand why that woman is so weepy. So, who wants a cup of tea?
I'll have some.
Your daughter is quite something, Rashid. A scholar in her own right.
I know. I'd rather she wasn't. It would make marrying her off so much easier.
Oh, I'm certain that won't stay a problem for long.
Maybe the dew originates from invisible water in the air. Water that stays hidden when it's hot.
The pilgrim trails across France converged at Osterbat, in the foothills of the Pyrenees. There, the group of 20 or so pilgrims who had been travelling alongside me since I'd left Tours swelled to about 70. Some were prosperous citizens, some probably on the run from justice, a few drunks, and several monks and clergymen. Several languages were spoken, including Flemish, a German tongue, and a southern French language called Oc. Nevertheless, there was no lack of communication among them, and as we crossed the Pyrenees, they sang, played games, told stories, and in several cases had love affairs. While my baby and I kept mostly to ourselves.
Ganz schön frech, die mit ihrem Kind.
Hush now, I'm sorry. He has to cry himself out before he'll fall asleep. It will give you a strong voice one day, won't it? Do you have children?
Der Weg aus Babenberg war doch anstrengend genug.
How long have you been traveling to get here? I met pilgrims from as far east as Franconia. I am sorry. We'll go for a walk so you can get some rest. Tomorrow. Dear Lord, what are you doing? You should get out of the water. It's freezing.
My ring! I lost my ring! Dear Lord, please show mercy. Where did you go?
I found it.
Yes! Oh, thank you! Thank you so much! You are a very kind woman. So very, very kind.
I'm glad I could help.
Yes, yes, thank you. Thank you so much.
Are you getting warmer?
I am, thank you.
I can see this ring is very precious to you.
It was a gift from my stepmother. She thought I would stay forever, but I didn't.
Why did you leave?
Oh, I thought I didn't belong. She always said I was her daughter, but I was sure she was lying. I was so selfish and so stupid. Too stupid to see I really was happy.
Maybe you really weren't happy.
I don't know. I was very young and thought I was unhappy because I didn't live close to the sea. But in the end, the sea did not feel the same about me. The cold there made me sick. It took away my sight.
It was courageous of you to leave. You did what your heart told you to.
I was stupid. So stupid.
Ah, that's why you went on the pilgrimage.
Yes, so that St. James might see my devotion, and I will be united with my mother in heaven. I'm just not as kind as you. Not kind at all.
You're too hard on yourself.
I don't know.
I too am trying to make amends with the one man I loved the most. I was told he went straight to Santiago.
You will know soon.
Not soon enough. It's still 4 weeks till I get there.
He'll be there, I'm sure of it.
I hope so. I just feel that with every day that passes, I'm losing him a bit more. And that the only thing I can allow myself still to hope for is not love, but forgiveness.
I understand.
Hey, hush now. Not long now and our journey will be over, The woman's name was Alba. She came from a small town somewhere in Catalonia. I quickly got used to her constantly feeling out for her stepmother's ring and the sad guilt that would always follow in her milky eyes. I wasn't sure if she appreciated my company, but I couldn't leave her on her own either. By the time we reached Los Arcos, she'd stopped talking, while I kept on dropping a kind word here and there to let her know I was still by her side. Alba believed herself to be of weak mind and body, and yet she walked the Camino with a strong sense of purpose that willed her onward. It made me wonder about what I'd told her about my own journey. Did I hope for love, or was I really traveling because I needed him to forgive me? But what was there to forgive? My decision to marry Alfred had been in the best interest of the people of Shiring. It was a sacrifice I had to make to stop the evil reign of William Hamley. These questions had haunted me for a long time now. But if I really was going to see Jack soon, it was time to make up my mind. Around Lyon, the path began to gradually turn uphill. It was only 2 more weeks till we'd reached Santiago. The baby was in a good mood, and so, surprisingly, was Alba. After Astorga, the trail got more difficult. Alba became slower and slower, and we had to rest more. She became quiet again. The strain on her old body grew, and she worried that she might not be able to reach the end. Still, we managed to push onward. The next morning, she refused to get up. Her breathing was disturbingly shallow, and she hardly noticed me touching her forehead. "Everything hurts," she said, and urged me to continue without her. Of course, I stayed with her. I brought her food and water and sat by her side. But day after day, her condition grew worse. She kept on urging me to go, to find Jack, saying the monks of Ponferrada would take care of her. I was about to leave when a monk stopped me. He urged me to stay at least for another day, and feeling that he was right, I remained. I'd hardly known her, and most of the time she'd tried to push me away, as if she considered herself a nuisance that slowed me down and who didn't deserve company. It wasn't until a few moments before she died that, for the first time, she smiled at me, and I like to believe that she saw me smile back. I still like to believe that here, in this unlikely place, dying next to a near stranger, she'd found a moment of serenity and happiness, but she'd not reached Santiago. When I left, that thought still haunted me. To see that a journey could come to an end so suddenly. But what would be different if she had reached Santiago? Could she have been disappointed by what she found? After months of hard travel, the child and I finally reached Santiago de Compostela. In the evening, we attended Mass in the great cathedral, then started to roam the town looking for my dear Jack. It was almost dawn when finally a priest pointed me to an inn close by. Buenos dias. Do you understand me?
Sinto cho ben, pero non temos camas dispoñibles.
No, I don't need a room. I was told a friend of mine stayed here some time ago. A red-haired Englishman called Jack. Do you remember him?
Eu só che falo en galego, miña rula.
Français? English? I'm looking for a man who likes to read a lot.
E logo anda sempre cun libro en riba.
Have you seen anyone like that?
Pero, por que levas un libro en riba? Vas descangallar co peso.
She doesn't even understand that I'm looking for a person yet.
Oh, que cousiña! Eche rubio!
See, redhead. Have you seen his father, Padre del Niño? Jack Jackson?
Ven sendo un peregrino?
What?
É un peregrino?
Oh, no. He's not a pilgrim.
Entón, quen ven sendo?
He's a mason.
Ai, mal rayo me partas entendo o que me estás a contar.
Is there someone inside who might be able to translate for us?
Nena, que temer que te entenda.
A translator? A guest?
Agora mesmo estanche todos a dormir. Case che diría que volvas mañá pola mañá.
Let me show you something. Let me show you something. He's a mason. He builds things like that.
Ah, eche masón. Albanel.
Sí, a mason. It's the same word in Galician.
Por aquí pasan unha morea de masóns. Non me poderías dicir algo máis sobre el?
Oín falar dun masón que dis que se dedica a traducir libros en Toledo.
Polo visto, di que se chama Jack.
Yes, Jack. Have you seen him?
Non sei cal será o seu apelido, pero ben é certo que non chai moitos masóns rubios aos que lles guste ler. Se tan desesperada está, por que non vai a Toledo a comprobalo por si mesma?
Entón, marchou para Toledo.
He went to Toledo?
A Toledo marchou, sí.
Di que o teu Jack podería estar en Toledo.
All right, so I will go to Toledo then. Gracias. I just pray that I understood you correctly. Buenos dias. Parlez-vous français? English?
Of course. How may I help you?
I was told a man named Jack Jackson lives in this house.
Who told you this?
A group of scholars living at the edge of town. They said he used to translate old scriptures about mathematics before he moved here.
Please wait here. I will talk with Master Rashid.
It's his.
Oh, there you are. May I ask who let you stroll around our house?
I travelled hundreds of miles looking for a man called Jack Jackson. A scholar told me that I would find him here.
Yes, my servant told me already. My father's not here at the moment, so you'll have to make do with me. Unfortunately, I must disappoint you. There's no one called Jack living in this house.
He must be here. I found his slingshot.
What? Who allowed you inside my father's archive?
Please, let me talk to him.
I'm sorry, but this is not easy for any of us. I think you should know that Jack and I are promised to each other. Maybe we should go inside. The sun's burning, and my mother doesn't need to hear us. Jack told me about you. You are Aliena. You're the one who rejected him and married his stepbrother. And now you want him back.
I'm here because I love him.
He always said that he had come here to find out about his family. But instead, he found out about everything else. About philosophy, mathematics. When he and my father met, it was love at first sight. They studied together and made great plans. But in the end, Jack would always start talking about his cathedral again. This great church he would build one day. Rib vaults and pointed windows. He'd ramble on about it for hours and stare up at that ceiling. We three sat here for hours and talked, and then in the evenings it would be just the two of us. So many strange ideas about the future. Some barely more than silly dreams. Others almost in arm's reach.
Well, where is he now?
Well, he's not here anymore. My father had offered him work as a master builder here in Toledo. He would have been well off and free to spend his evenings under vaults like this, with me as his wife. But in the end, he refused. Tell me, did you really marry his stepbrother?
It was a mistake. I know that now. I did it to fulfill a promise I'd made to my father. I thought I had no choice. I didn't want to hurt him. Believe me.
I do. You know, he left me because of you. Even after all you did to him, he couldn't let go. You can be glad that you ran into me and not my mother. She was enraged when he left.
He can have that effect on people.
But apart from that, we made our peace with him. Father even gave him one of his favorite pieces of his collection as a parting gift. A small wooden statue with stone eyes, in exchange for his slingshot.
Would you mind telling me where he went?
He went to Paris, to work on the Cathedral of Saint-Denis. He said he never found out about his father, so there was no reason to stay down here anymore.
Paris?
Yes. If you find him there, tell him I don't miss him.
Thank you, and all the best to your family.
Thank you. What is the child's name, by the way?
Well, he has none yet. I wouldn't name him without Jack.
Isn't that a bit silly?
Maybe. But he's his son as well as mine. It's his right to have a say in it too.
Then off to Paris. That baby needs a name.
He will get one. Thank you. I travelled back along the way of St. James, passing through Astorga, Lyon, and Burgos. I crossed the Pyrenees, revisiting Bordeaux, Angoulême, Poitiers, but never stayed longer than one night. The closer I came to Paris, the stronger my old doubts and fears resurfaced. If Jack really was there, what was I to say to him? I'd pull him very, very close, wishing for all the wounds to heal as quickly as they could. There. Are we awake then? You almost missed this. Look at these colourful windows. Look at the light.
Ali.
We came to see you, Jack.
We? Is he?
He is your son.
My son?
I'm sorry.
It's not your fault. Ali, where do we go from here?
Wherever we go, I want to go with you.
Will you marry me? Both of you.
We will. We stayed in Paris as husband and wife. And our son, Tommy. The days went by quickly. Jack had learned much working as a builder in Saint-Denis. Days became months. Then after a year, we both grew restless. Where can we go from here, we asked ourselves again. We both confessed that we wanted to see our families, our friends. And then we knew where we wanted to go. Home. Even if it was in shambles.
We need to hurry. The ship to England will leave soon.
What's going on here?
Whatever it is, if the crowd doesn't clear up, we'll miss our ship. Do you know what's going on?
Oh, chaos. I can't get these people to calm down. God knows I tried.
What happened?
The jongleur told the crowd a few stories. Then he sold people some miracle charms, but it was just fairy tales and painted stones.
Well, it always is.
I know, but I'd need a real miracle to calm them down now. Otherwise, they'll rip him apart.
Don't listen to a word he says.
Do you see? It's working.
Your friend Rashid must be quite the miracle worker.
He's a thief. Don't listen to a word he says.
Look! What's going on? The Holy Mother. She's crying.
Revere the Holy Mother, for she has blessed us with a sign from the heavens. Cease your doings right now and witness the miracle.
It's true. Lord in heaven. Why is she crying?
She weeps for she is lost. She seeks her true home, and we have traveled the world to find it. She weeps for she will miss her ship if you continue to block the path.
It is the Mother of God.
Forgive us, Holy Mother. Where did she come from?
For hundreds of years, she languished in the land of the Saracens. Dormant, she has been waiting for the one to bring her home.
Listen! to what he has to say. The Holy Virgin has chosen this young family to protect her. Tell us all where you are headed.
Her destination is beyond these waters. In the small town of Kingsbridge, in the earldom of Shiring. There she wants to rest.
Kingsbridge?
Where's that?
Hail Mary!
Make way for the Holy Virgin!
Hallelujah!
Make Robert well!
Huh?
Blessed Mary, let my daughter conceive.
Give us a good harvest!
They're donating to ask for her blessing.
Oh. The weeping Madonna shall hear your prayer. And with your donations, I shall build her a new shrine at Kingsbridge, a cathedral.
It's you!
Who do you mean?
You, the red-haired ghost.
Me? A ghost?
My husband is very much alive. I've known him since he was 12 years old.
But he drowned. By God, you drowned. 24 years ago. On the White Ship. My poor, poor son. My Jacques.
His name was Jacques.
Jacques Cherbourg.
Jacques Cherbourg.
So much has grown, but there are no roots, no herbs.
What are you looking at, Jonathan?
The garden is in disorder. I want it to be right again, but I don't know how to do it.
Before I became prior, I thought the same about Kingsbridge.
Well, what did you do?
I cleaned up.
Where do we start?
Some plants are weeds and must go before we can plant new seeds.
What are weeds?
They take away what the other plants need to grow. Light, water, room.
What do we do?
Pluck them. They look a lot like every other plant, so you need to learn how to tell them apart. Here, you see those? They're called wood sorrel. Let's pluck only those for now.
I'll do it.
If you insist. Make sure to pull out all of the thin roots.
And now what do I do?
For plants to take root, the soil must be loose and fertile.
So, may I dig now? Done. What's next?
Stay here. I'll be right back. Now, where did you put them? Ah, here they are. You always said you wanted to plant these seeds and make a new garden, Milius. I think it's about time.
What did you bring?
Do you remember Milius? A kind man with a warm smile. Well, he told me to give you this.
Wow!
Now we just have to wait.
All right. How long?
Too long for us to keep sitting here.
That long.
Some things take time. And only with patience will you receive your reward.
Why do we have to do all these things if all we had to do is wait?
Simply waiting would not have been enough, Jonathan. You just paved the way for things to take their course. They are happening right now. And in a few days' time, we will return and see the first green leaf of something new.
Oh. Is it God's reward?
Maybe.
Does he make things grow?
You made it.
No. I just planted the seed.
Now you can fetch some water from the rain barrel.
But that water's smelly. It's been there forever. There are many trees by the river. I bet that water's better.
That's a longer walk, though.
I don't mind. The distance is worth it.
Maybe you're right. It is worth it. Let's walk together, then.
But I'll carry the bucket.
Why isn't Remigius holding the sermon? What's gotten into Philip?
Our church lies in ruins. But all of this, these dire times, have revealed something important to us. Something that, maybe until today, I wasn't aware of.
What do you mean?
You've been praying in these ruins. But you've been praying like you always did, in humbleness. We don't need a church for prayer.
Where else are we going to pray? The chapter house?
The church is where God resides.
God doesn't work in the ways we might assume. Today, Jonathan tended to our garden to make it beautiful again. And he told me of things I almost had forgotten. Good and evil are not in here or out there. They are within each of us. God made us in his image. Thus, we carry the godly spark within us. But we have witnessed that man can have the devil in his heart as well. Prayer needs no special place, for we are his church. In our actions, he exists.
We are God's temple.
No man is closer to God than any other man. Whether you pray in church or on the streets of our towns, whether you're a man, woman, monk, or bishop.
Philip, look outside! You have to see them. You've got to see the horses and the colours.
Jonathan. Now, what's going on?
I heard noises and I went to look.
Calm down. What happened?
But the priest said they brought a miracle.
Who? What? What priest?
Step right up, brothers and sisters. For you are about to see something that will change your life.
Who is that?
They brought us a miracle.
A miracle?
Don't be shy. There is no danger, just awe that awaits you here. Ah, you must be Prior Philip. I am Brother Reynold. I have been sent by the Archbishop of Canterbury. Here is his letter, in case you have reasonable doubts. We've been charged to accompany the Weeping Madonna. She is to replace the loss of your relic, Saint Adolphus the Martyr, who was taken from you, I hear, with brute force.
What?
On her travel from far away Africa, she has collected donations to reward Kingsbridge for your faith in her and in the Lord.
I can't believe this. What is all this?
You do believe. That is why she came. And that is why you shall witness her miracle for yourself today. The Weeping Madonna came to me in a faraway land named Africa. A baptized Saracen was her former guardian.
Please tell us more.
Of course. My words shall prepare you for the sight of the Holy Madonna. I knew not her powers or destination. Nevertheless, I carried her for many miles. Many bore witness to her miracle before it dawned upon me. She wanted to go home, but where? It came to me in a dream. It was Kingsbridge. But I wondered, what shrine should be her shelter? This time, it was the Madonna herself who answered my questions. She said, "You shall build me a new church in Kingsbridge." So we set off, with the blessing of Archbishop Theobald of Canterbury. And along the road, from Paris, across Normandy, over the sea, and all the way to Kingsbridge. Devout Christians have given money for the building of the Church of the Weeping Madonna. This Church of Kingsbridge. The Weeping Madonna has chosen you, all of you. I will tell you again, dear brothers and sisters. The Weeping Madonna has chosen you, all of you. You must be thinking, how can he be so sure?
In what country did you say you came from?
We have travelled all the way from a place of wonders too marvellous to behold. The faraway land of Africa.
Africa has many countries, I've heard.
Yes, it does. You must be thinking, how can he be so sure? In the beginning, I was not. I only had my faith.
What's it like in Africa?
The sun is always shining, and miracles happen every day. It's a land of great deserts, fig trees, and creatures that an Englishman can't even dream up.
Like these horses. Are they horses?
They are not. To you, they might resemble horses, but the name the Africans have for these creatures is impossible to pronounce, even for me. I could have continued to carry her from town to town until my flesh succumbed, but this was not her will.
You mentioned there were fig trees in Africa. What are they?
It's a fruit, of course. It looks like a strawberry and tastes like a pear.
The scripture mentions these figs, and they sound nothing like that. Why is that?
No two apples look or taste alike. The same goes for figs, and doubly so.
I'm getting the impression that this man has never even been to Africa. But why would he lie?
It was a long he be so sure.
Tell me the truth. Why are you here?
We are guardians of the Holy Virgin that sheds tears. We were appointed by the Archbishop of Canterbury, but it was the Holy Virgin herself who chose us while she travelled through Europe.
Oh, yes. How did that happen?
She speaks without words.
In the beginning, I was not. I only had my I knew not her powers or destination. Nevertheless, I carried her for many miles. Now, brothers and sisters,
I am Philip.
that life
Who are you,
has
young
not
man?
been kind to Kingsbridge, but it is in places like these, and in dark times
Why are you
like
hiding?
these, that God's light shines brightest. And along the road, money for the build. Can you feel it? Brothers and sisters, you are about to witness a miracle. The Madonna knows how you have suffered. The Virgin Mother had to witness the rise and fall of her Son, our Lord Jesus Christ, and never stopped believing. Kingsbridge has endured many hardships. Prior James left you before his time when you needed him the most. Your old cathedral was burned to the ground.
How do you know this?
And your new one collapsed even before construction was finished. You have suffered the ruthless destruction of your market, homes, and lives.
Dada!
All of you have lost husbands, wives, and children, family and friends.
Dada!
All of you know how it is to be hungry and afraid.
Jack. Helena.
Philip.
But this is...
A miracle, isn't it? Or something along those lines.
But how?
We thought it was time to give Tommy a home.
The boy? Your boy?
Well, Philip? Do you recognize him? Our little Tommy?
Tommy? But... Just what are you doing here with These people. Do you think I wouldn't notice it's all artifice? Your shrine is an old cart with decorations, and Reynold is just a dubious man speaking nothing but lies.
The camels were a bit much, weren't they?
With the Madonna, we were able to collect donations for your priory and for Kingsbridge.
Really?
We can start anew. We can rebuild the cathedral.
What's the catch?
I'll get to be master builder.
Why?
I've studied the cathedrals, churches, and houses they build in France and Spain. I saw how different their constructions were, with new shapes, colours, and ideas. Oh, you should have seen it. They combined rib vaulting and pointed arches. I want to do that. That's why.
Why here?
Because this is home.
The townspeople probably think that's enough to build a whole cathedral, but to me it looks like about £100. You know, that won't even pay for a year's work.
Like all of this, it's a symbol. Enough for a fresh start.
And the Madonna will stay here. Kingsbridge will attract visitors and donations again.
You mean I should be thankful for these lies and tricks?
Jack! Aliena! You came back!
We wanted to see you, little sister.
How are you?
Oh, I'm fine. But look at you! And the little one!
Tommy.
How are the others?
Alfred left Kingsbridge. Richard shows up every now and then, and Ellen returned to the forest.
We need to visit her.
What's wrong, Mother?
I'm glad you're back.
I am too. Very glad.
She looks like she's about to cry. She will weep for your suffering, Kingsbridge. She knows your pain.
What now?
The miracle!
Her eyes are wet.
Her
Christ, look at her.
Heaven.
They're shining.
She cannot hold her tears any longer.
She is made of wood. It's impossible.
Why are you weeping? She is mute ever since her husband died.
The Madonna has suffered as I have. She understands.
It seems through her faith in all of your lies, Mary has found a miracle. We can't keep trying to repair Kingsbridge by ourselves. Things are not improving. We're struggling to keep things as they are.
But we can't afford to hire help.
Without farming and fairs, we're back to Prior James's time.
All these past years, my advice was good enough for you. But it appears you've changed your mind now, again.
It is time we started doing something to wake up and make Kingsbridge what it used to be. We did before, and we can do it again.
I'm not willing to accept a risk like that. Don't you remember what happened last time? My, how easily we forget.
I remember well.
And still, you put your trust into a group of random strangers to make things better. Philip, why in God's name have you stood by and let this happen? They're tricking us into giving them money for false idols.
They are giving us money.
So that we'll place this idol in our priory? Do you approve of this?
People need hope, and these travelers are giving them hope. Yes, it is a deception, but with good intentions. Mary speaks again. Is that not a true miracle?
You fell for them. You really did. And now you joyfully take part in their deceptions. I'm warning you. I cannot support a prior who tolerates heresy.
Your threat won't sway me. No matter how unconventional, their return and their gift are a blessing.
You made your decision, Philip of Gwynedd. And now, I make mine. I resign. I'm leaving the Priory.
You got so big, Tommy. And you're just as shy as your father was.
Don't let him fool you. Usually, he's always up to something.
Tom would have been proud of you. Of both of you.
Is she still here?
Hmm?
Tom's wife.
Oh, no. Martha and I moved her to Kingsbridge. She's with Tom now. He always wanted that.
Ellen, we found Jack's family in Cherbourg.
The place he came from wasn't Cherbourg, it was Cherbourg.
But... really? What were they like?
They were good people.
His grandmother said Jack looked just like him, like his father.
He does. But they never came for him or asked about him.
They thought he was dead. His ship sunk. He'd always wanted to go to England.
Have you ever heard of the White Ship?
No.
The king's family drowned.
My father was there. He was the only one who survived.
Not for long.
You told me that he was accused of stealing a chalice.
Yes. But I know he was innocent. I heard the story and had to find out what he looked like. He told me his name. I fell in love. I helped him escape. But in the end, they caught up with us.
What happened then?
They hanged him. I was there. And you were there, Jack. But you weren't born yet. He was led to the gallows. Everyone was quiet. The people somehow knew he was not a thief. But I knew for sure. He told me. He was so afraid. He didn't want to die. I didn't want him to die. And I prayed. Then I heard his voice. Quiet.
Sang sweeter than ever, as if the falling melody might wing and net dissever. At dusk the hunter took his prey, the lark his freedom net.
No! No!
You said that 3 men were responsible for Father's death.
Who were they?
The Sheriff of Shiring, Percy Hamley, Prior James of Kingsbridge, and Archdeacon Waileran Bygod. They showed no mercy. Neither did I.
I curse you! All of you! He will return to haunt you! One day, you will be judged for what you did. Your houses shall be consumed by fire. Your life shall end in pain and agony. You shall grow old in sadness and regret.
The people they killed will return to haunt them. I promised them.
we welcome our new prior Remigius. He helped to recover the bones of the Saint of Kingsbridge, Adolphus, from the hands of thieves. Adolphus already rests safely in this great cathedral of Shiring. Our master builder Alfred promised me that it will only be a matter of a few years until the cathedral will be finished. And the Earl of Shiring has promised to support us. But he has not done so for himself. No, the Earl is not a selfish man. His mother, Lady Hamley, is sick. More and more, I feel the whole of England is suffering from a sickness. The sickness of war, poverty, and most of all, heathen beliefs. I have spoken to God. I asked him, begged him to walk amongst us, to heal us. But God told me that only when this great cathedral is finished will he have a temple to reside in. No matter the cost, this shall be a towering castle to protect us from evil and false beliefs. With this cathedral, we will bring an end to the dark times.
Waileran, by God!
Jack? What are you doing here?
My father died by your hands, Waileran. His name was Jacques Cherbourg.
How dare you talk to the bishop like that?
He died right here!
Who are you?
I know that man. He's that bastard from Kingsbridge.
That man is my husband.
You?
All of you, listen to what we have to say. From now on, Kingsbridge is protected.
By our knights, by our walls, and by the word of the king.
So whatever you do, we will defend our town, our market and fulling mills.
And our cathedral, which we shall rebuild. All workers are invited to come and work for us.
Oh, preposterous.
If you so much as try to bring harm to us, Bishop, we will make sure that you pay for everything you did.
It had been 3 years. 3 years of drought. 3 years of hunger and poverty. England was brought to its knees. Only our walls had kept us safe from the bands of outlaws raiding towns and villages. Bishop Waileran and William Hamley forced the workers to finish their cathedral in Shiring. Many had died. The work on our own cathedral had almost come to a halt. 4 weeks the storm had raged on. It was then that our cathedral gave up its last secret. And everything changed.
Tom, I don't think you would have liked the sight of this. I don't think you would have liked the sight of this at all. I know. You'd not planned the cathedral to be that high. But I reinforced the walls, like in Saint Denis. The storm shouldn't be that much of a problem. But if it's not the storm, then what is it? No. I don't want to break more stones loose. One day, people will fly, like birds, sailing on the wind. Rashid told me. The vaulting is cracked. If I make it worse, then we'll at least know what the problem is. All right. One more time. If the vaulting were unstable, this part would have collapsed and the wall would retract. The cause of the problem is not up here. Tom. What would you have done now? When we erected the Eastern Wall 17 years ago, there was also a crack. Yes. No matter what we did, it always came back. But this is not the same wall. We rebuilt it. But the cause could have been the same in both cases. The crypt! Huh? Yes, Tom. You kept the whole foundation there as it was. But it never had to carry this much weight before. That's it! The problem must be down there.
They were enraged. Bishop Henry thinks that the Pope should hear about what you wrote.
I think so, too. I would be honored if he read my book.
Philip, I really am worried about you.
There is no need for you to worry, Jonathan. It is just a book.
The problem is that the people love your sermons and what you wrote, even though most of them can't read. Your book is being copied in priories all over England.
Is that not a good thing, if our message gives people hope?
In desperate times, hope can be a powerful force.
That is very true.
Well, I fear the bishops. They might come to believe you took that power from them.
Huh? Do you?
Jack!
Have you been atop the cathedral during the storm?
Don't worry, Philip. The storm isn't as bad up there.
You shouldn't be up there risking your life. You should be with your children. Sally and Tommy have been asking for their parents all morning.
The storm is tearing our east wall apart. If the storm works, I work. Jonathan, did you and the others come directly from Winchester?
Yes, we did.
What about Aliena?
She stayed a day longer for the Fleece Fair. She should be on her way back now.
In this storm?
We didn't expect it to get worse.
No one did.
I am sure she'll be all right.
I need to go. I think I know why the east wall is unstable.
Yes? Why is that?
I'm not sure, but I think the answer lies down in the crypt. I should hurry before it's too late. I think I know what caused the problems we have with the East Wall.
Wonderful. You know, I just realized that the crack in the wall reminds me of the one that the old cathedral had.
The one that burned down?
Yes. I only noticed it when I visited after Prior James died.
It wasn't there before then?
No. I remember that I thought the crack looked like a finger, pointing at the sinners of Kingsbridge.
A grim thought.
I was not happy with the state of Kingsbridge back then. I admit that.
Philip is right. It does look like a finger, pointing right at the crypt. That definitely wasn't here before. The cause of the instability must be down here. Here we go. Dear God. These stones, they've been removed before. Whoever put them back just added some mortar on top of the stones to hide the fact that they were removed. The tile at the bottom was completely loose.
What does that mean?
I think it was an entrance.
An entrance? To where?
That's what we'll find out.
Careful now. You've got the whole east wall on top of you. Jack?
Jack?
I'm all right. I just hit my head. It's dark in here.
There's a whole room here. A chamber.
I'll get a torch.
Philip, I'll get it. You stay here.
Is that a coffin? Oh, there's sand everywhere. Uh-huh. It's a bed.
What?
There's a bed in here.
What? Jonathan, we need that torch.
That's not wood. It's metal. Gold, even. It's made of leather. It's a whip. What is that doing here?
I have the torch.
All right, come in here. Should be safe. Did you know about this place?
No. No, I did not. I have seen this chalice before, when I was very young. It's the chalice of the Eucharist from Kingsbridge Cathedral. Cuthbert told me about it. They said it was stolen.
And melted down, I know. Mother told me. They also said it was my father who did it.
Did they?
So he's innocent then?
He must be.
And whoever hid the chalice is responsible for his death. They hanged him in Shiring for stealing this chalice. But it was here all along.
That scourge, the whip. It belonged to Prior James. I was afraid of it when I first visited Kingsbridge with Francis and Abbot Peter. Even the look of it scared me.
James. Maybe it was him. I think I saw him during the night of the fire in the cathedral. When the old cathedral burned down. There was a man in the fire. His shoulders were bloody, as if he had chastised himself.
It is you! By God and the devil!
He told me that he had sinned, that he had done something to me. Perhaps because I looked like my father.
So he confessed for framing your father while he hid the cup here?
But it couldn't have been James you saw. James died weeks before the fire.
Did he? You said they never found his body. Maybe he hid down here. Maybe that's why the bed's here.
Wait. Jack, you were in the burning cathedral. What were you doing there?
And then I told Philip what I'd done. He just looked at me and didn't say anything.
Wailerin, what do you want?
Do you think it is wise to resign yourself to gluttony at times like these, while your people starve on the streets of Shiring?
Don't play the saint. You promise them miracles, and you make them pay. But your miracles never work out, do they?
God works in ways that we cannot comprehend.
My mother cannot walk. You failed. Again. What do you want?
I came about a book.
The Bible again?
No. Philip of Gwynedd wrote it. And the church is displeased. Bishop Henry was enraged. This is our chance, William.
Your chance, you mean? If you need forces, talk to Walter or Ugly. I don't care. I built your fucking cathedral. I'm done.
It's not just about Philip. It's about Aliena and her family.
Don't mention that name.
But have you not heard? King Stephen and Maud's son just signed a peace treaty.
I don't care.
You should care.
I said I don't. Now leave, and don't come back unless I ask for you. Where's my wife?
They've not returned yet, Lord William.
Then get me a whore! Now!
I am sorry for intruding, but I must ask you for shelter. I was on my way from the Fleece Fair in Winchester to Kingsbridge and got caught in the storm.
Nasty, isn't it?
Yes. And it's getting worse and worse. Thank you for your hospitality.
Someone! Help me! Please!
Didn't you hear that? Excuse me, haven't you heard it too?
I'm hurt!
Doesn't anyone want to go and see what that was? Don't you hear it?
Out here! I'm out here!
Hello? Oh dear, are you hurt?
My horse! It fell! I can't move!
Take my hand! We'll get you inside! We'll only be here until it's safe to leave. We won't bother you. I'm Aliena. What's your name?
Elizabeth.
Breathe, Elizabeth. You're safe now.
Mm-hmm.
She took her.
Should have let her die. We would all be better off without someone like her.
You should get out of this place as soon as you can.
Be assured, I will leave as soon as the storm ceases.
Hey, what are you going to do with that?
I'm just going to borrow it.
Let's try to get along until the storm passes.
Thank you.
Hey, that's our blanket.
Can't you see she's freezing?
It's all right. It's just a blanket.
I don't like this.
Hold your horses. We'll see what happens. We don't have much, but always enough for a lost soul.
What's she doing now?
Eat this. You must be hungry.
Thank you. That's nice of you.
Why are you giving her soup? Dirt. That's what she deserves for dinner.
What? Do you want her to starve?
Please, don't start a fight.
Oh, you're so kind. Many people would have let me die. People don't listen to me. My entourage didn't even notice they lost me.
Who?
My husband and his entourage.
A fine husband you have. I divorced my last one for less than that.
Divorced? Oh, he's just been beside himself ever since his mother.
Maybe now you'll understand what loss feels like. And what you people are doing to us.
Stop bullying her! Can't you see she's upset? How do they know you? This isn't right.
Oh, I'm used to it. I guess that's how it is when your husband holds an office like that. He has to do a lot of things people don't like. And sometimes they recognize me, too.
Wait. Is your husband the Earl of Shiring?
I thought you knew.
William Hamley.
Oh, please don't abandon me too. I swear, I'm not... I can't...
I used to know him when I was a girl.
Really?
Why did you marry him?
My parents arranged it. And it was an honor to be picked.
What's he like now?
I loathe him with all my heart. How do you know him?
He wanted to marry me when I was your age. Apparently he likes young girls, no matter how old he gets.
You too were supposed to marry him. How come you didn't?
He was a beast. So I refused.
You refused him?
It caused a lot of misery.
Oh, you're so courageous. I wish I was like you. I can't even stand up to the servants.
Don't act like you didn't have a hand in the downfall of this land. For years he roamed across the country to raid, rape and kill.
I'm sorry.
He's no Earl. After all he's taken from us, we should take something from him too.
She has nothing to do with this. Don't you dare touch her. Can't you see she's another one of his victims?
I'll give over. She's in on it too.
Can you even imagine how it must be to be a child married to Hamley? The abuse and the humiliation every single day. I'm so sorry.
I'm crying because you know too.
Enough to know your pain.
I just don't know what to do anymore.
Tom, where the hell am I supposed to tether this horse?
It's Walter. He's looking for me.
Come with me to Kingsbridge. People will take care of you there.
That should do it.
Walter.
You? I've not seen you in a long time. William would be very pleased if I brought him your head.
No! Don't harm her! If it wasn't for her, I'd be dead. She saved me from the storm.
Did she now? Come on, we have to get back to the castle. We've lost too much time already.
I won't let her go back.
It's all right. You don't need to sacrifice yourself for me. Thank you for saving me and protecting me from these people.
Come on now, we need to get going. William is waiting.
Dear Francis, the letters I have written to you over the years surely could be bound into a book. But only you know what my words in those letters amount to. It is different with the book I have written. It has found its way into priories throughout England and beyond. Because of my book, I may have to talk to Bishop Henry. But that is not the only thing that keeps me awake tonight. Behind a wall in our crypt, Jack discovered a hidden room. We do not know who built it. But it is likely that Prior James hid there, even after he was said to have drowned. That means he was alive when we met in Kingsbridge on New Year's Day, the day of his burial. And Jack told me he saw a man in the church the night it burned down. Was that him? And if so, did he burn in the fire that night? The dust storm and the drought are taking their toll on all of us. Thanks to our town wall, we are safe from the Earl and the outlaws. We've heard of places nearby being raided. We believe the attackers were William Hamley's men. We have enough food to last us another few weeks. But life has come to a halt. Martha believes there will be rain soon. But the storm is only a harbinger of rain. I hope that she is right. Jonathan worries about my book. The Divine Soul. In Winchester, he heard that Bishop Henry was less than pleased by what I had written. I am not naive enough to pretend I do not know why. I wrote that hope is godly, and since God made each of us, hope and salvation are only to be found within ourselves. Henry sells hope, and I am giving it away for free. If the church should ask me to clarify my position, of course I shall do so. But I feel I must give our people what they need in these desperate times. And how could I write anything else if this is what I truly believe? It must be well after midnight. With you, I can be honest about what truly troubles me. Jack told me that he was responsible for the fire in Kingsbridge. I know that it was a long time ago. He told me he set fire to the roof so there would be work for his father, Tom.
By God, save yourselves! The saint! We must save the saint! Fire! The whole roof is in flames!
My God!
Don't go in there! Adolphus! The saint! We must save him! No! No! Don't go!
And as horrible as it may sound, I cannot find it in my heart just now to forgive Jack. Maybe because this confession comes too late, and from a man who I have learned to trust. This is the truth. I should get some air, Francis. The storm has settled down. A magnificent cathedral, but I would have been more than content with the old one, had it not been burned to the ground. If James died in that fire, then what happened to his remains? He was never properly buried, and that is Jack's fault. Hello? I thought I saw someone. No. Something is wrong. The kitchen door is open. That came from the kitchen.
Oh, it's you.
You startled me.
I thought I heard something. Was that you?
No, but I heard it too. Maybe Aliena came back.
No, she's asleep. She returned a few hours ago. Damn it.
Jack.
Sorry. There's someone in the kitchen.
Yes, I think you're right.
Stay behind me. I'll go ahead. There's someone in here.
Outlaws. They are probably just after food. I will talk to them.
All right. He's alone.
There must have been others. Most of the food is gone.
We will not harm you. Do you hear me?
Ah! Jack! Why did you do that, you animal? I will get the others.
No!
What?
He's just a child.
Just a child. Jack forgave the child, just like that. And I forgave him. For that was what he had been when he arrived in Kingsbridge. Just a child. Who was I to judge this man for not confessing earlier what he had done? I had never told his wife, Aliena, that I was responsible for her fate, and for her father's. Even that night, when we all met, I did not dare to tell her.
The walls of Kingsbridge weren't enough anymore. The outlaws had found a way in. We weren't safe in our homes.
So this is what it has come to. Kingsbridge is under attack.
Why didn't Uncle Richard chase them away? Why?
Now, do not exaggerate. This is not a siege.
We only saw 2 of them, and one of them was a child.
But they almost killed you.
They were just looking for food. They didn't mean any harm.
It's the drought. It destroyed all the crops. They must eat something.
Desperate or not, they're only the vanguard of a full-scale invasion.
If we had a decent Earl, the people wouldn't be starving.
It is all too easy to blame a desperate child. Forgiveness is much harder.
It is.
But forgive we must.
Can you? Forgive, I mean.
I already have.
Hamley is the reason for this. He's to blame. It's that simple.
Well, he won't be Earl for long. The Treaty of Wallingford has been signed at last. It's only a matter of time until things change.
What treaty?
Winchester is in turmoil about this right now. Stephen and Maud have signed the treaty. Maud's son, Duke Henry, is to be crowned the next king.
And, by agreement, all lands are to be returned to their previous owners.
But Stephen will continue to rule as long as he lives.
The earldom will be ours again.
It will not.
Why the bloody hell not?
Bloody hell.
Language?
No one will enforce this until Stephen is dead.
What is to be done then?
Well, if they're hungry, can't we just give them something to eat?
I'll share.
We should, and we will, but there are too many to feed them all.
We must do something.
Well, I cannot sit quietly and wait until Stephen dies of old age. The Treaty of Wallingford is in place. I won't wait for another 17 years. Not when I'm so close to fulfilling the promise I made to my father.
You're right, but it wasn't William Hamley who came here last night. It's the outlaws we need to worry about.
Well, what do we do about it?
They too are victims. We must show compassion. If we defend Kingsbridge, we must cause as little harm as possible, or better, help as many as possible.
Things will only get worse if we don't find a way to deal with Hamley.
What about his mother? I've heard that Hamley still listens to her, that she still has a say in Earl's Castle.
Yes, let's tell his mother.
If we spoke to Regan Hamley, we might not need a physical confrontation at all.
That'll never work. We have to assault them and take back our father's castle. Even if that means fighting alongside the outlaws.
I don't like either choice, to be honest.
Neither do I. So, what do you think, Aliena?
I will talk to the outlaws. Maybe we can find someone who can speak on their behalf. And if there's no one, then we will.
I'll ride with you.
You won't, Cub. Not with that leg of yours.
Your mother is right. Besides, if we all turn up, they might think we mean them harm.
Our hopes of meeting allies on the road to Shiring were fading with every mile. The only people we saw were sitting by the side of the road, broken and starving. Shiring was riddled with death and despair. I'd heard that Wigley had just been raided by outlaws, leaving them almost entirely without cattle. Maybe someone there knew where the raiders had come from. But Cowford, on the other hand, had a recent falling out with William Hamley. There was a chance that they would be quick to join our resistance. As we reached Wigley, we met a farmer tending to a scrawny chicken. She told us that Hamley had claimed ownership of all their cattle. Shortly after that, the cattle vanished. Raiders had taken it, throwing William Hamley into a fit of rage. Some say they recognized the thieves, neighbors who had once lived among them. They were long believed to be among the dead. Were we really building our hopes on a pack of ghosts? We entered the village. There was a weary young man trying to repair a roof. He pointed toward a ruined mill. Hamley's mill, he called it, which used to have the right to grind all grain from the nearby villages. That was until a few days ago. Hamley had come to collect his share and, due to the famine, was met with empty coffers. Enraged, he'd killed the miller and had taken every last bag of flour belonging to the starving people of Calford. Many had fled into the forest, desperate for their lives. The fields of Huntly spurred fond memories. Here, I'd negotiated my first deal to transport and sell the farmer's wool. Now, the meadows had turned to straw, and the sheep were dead. Soon, we reached Uncle Simon's abandoned hut. Our horses needed rest, so we wanted to leave them there while we looked around on foot. Then, I remembered how Richard had been kicked by the man William had paid to catch us, and the horrible sounds he'd made lying there. Inside the hut, I was startled by a hunched figure hiding in a corner, nibbling on a lump of bread. Upon seeing us, the creature's eyes widened, like those of a frightened animal. I asked him where he got bread in times like these. Was it stolen? No, I got it from the butcher. The people at Sally's quarry told me to ask the butcher, he blurted out, startled by his own voice. Mistaking our interest for greed, he wolfed down the rest of the bread. Before we could ask more, the frightened man jumped up and fled into the forest. The butcher, was he the one we were looking for? A leader whom the downtrodden trusted and feared? Maybe we could find him at the quarry the man had mentioned. The abandoned quarry was teeming with activity. Many poor souls were gathering around a fireplace, boiling a stew from meat and turnips. It was plain to see that these people weren't held together by blood or profession, but by hunger and desperation. And by their numbers, I thought, that could make them quite dangerous. Were these outlaws? We walked slowly towards them. I sensed that Richard was ready to draw his sword. The first one to notice us was a little girl. Swiftly pointing a finger at us, "Who are they?" she asked the others. All eyes darted towards us. Their reactions were as varied as their faces. Some looked afraid, curious, and confused. Others were full of hatred and contempt. "We're not here to hurt you," I explained. "We just want to talk." "Where can I find the butcher?" I asked. Their faces expressed anger and fear. I explained that we were looking for food. They told us that the butcher was still in Monksfield, but that meat would come every couple of days. I said that wouldn't be a problem, not knowing what they meant. It looked like our path would lead us back to Monksfield. Thank you for giving me and my friend shelter the other day.
Weather's fine now, so what do you want this time?
We're looking for the butcher.
The butcher of Monksfield has long since moved away.
Damn, I can't believe it.
No need for cursing, young man. If you bring me an animal, I can prepare it for you.
Do people call you the butcher then?
Why'd you ask? What do you want?
Do you have a lot of outlaws passing by?
You don't see it in their faces, dear. But we all have been failed by the law and our leaders. Don't you agree?
I asked because we feel the same way. And we're looking for a way to make things right again.
Is that so?
We're looking to build an army to invade Earl's castle and kill Earl William Hamley.
Oh my. If it was that easy, someone would have done that a long time ago. The poor souls I meet, they're just simple people. They're not an army.
We would lead them.
I'm a knight. I know how to turn ordinary men into fighters.
In their condition, most of them can barely kill a chicken, let alone a man. These people are mothers, fathers, hard workers, yes, but they are not soldiers.
We'd reward them if they helped us.
You must know we are the rightful heirs to Earl Bartholomew of Shiring, and would show ourselves very generous.
So, you're just another pair of nobles who want to use us as pawns in their battle, to die for you.
It is the best chance we have. This is a battle for the sake of the people of Shiring, for all of us.
It's rubbish. It's what it is.
We are offering you a chance to rid the land of Hamley, to fight for your freedom.
The last time I saw you, you showed kindness toward that young woman who was with you. I am willing to listen to a good soul, but I won't help you blindly.
That woman that was here, that you helped, that was Hamley's wife. His wife, by God. How stupid do you think we are?
Right, it's a trap.
Well, how can these people put their life at risk if they do not trust you? You are not like us.
Yeah.
Oh, I know what it's like to live in poverty.
And just like you, we had William Hamley to thank for it.
But I also know that if one fights the right battles, that things can change for the better.
But they're starving, my child. They are weakened by poverty, hunger, and illness. Who are you to think you can face William Hamley?
Yeah. You! Who do you think you are?
We are the children of Bartholomew, Earl of Shiring.
Our father once ruled with a firm but benevolent hand. You must remember how good you had it.
Well, better than now, but that's easy.
He did have guts, though, trying to take on Stephen.
So, you are his daughter and son, you say?
Yes. All we know, we learned from him.
Yeah, good point.
Yeah.
Yeah!
Mm-hmm.
Even if we work together, Hamley is too powerful.
You ask us to sacrifice our lives for your noble cause, these people will die.
We too will make the same sacrifices. I only ask of you what I myself am willing to give. If anything happens to you, it will also happen to me.
You have noble principles, I see.
Yeah.
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 I said it before. We all have lost everything, except for our lives. We don't fight other people's battles.
But maybe this is our battle too.
My people will decide for themselves. But I will tell them that I believe that it is indeed a battle worth fighting.
I thank you.
I pray that it will be worth it.
We will all pray, and then we fight.
And so, after 17 years, I finally returned to the place I'd once called home. There was a small army of famished outlaws hiding in the surrounding woods, waiting for my signal to attack. led by my vengeful brother, Richard. But I had to be sure that Elizabeth was safe. The poor girl who in my stead had been doomed to become William Hamley's wife.
Get in line and stay in line. You'll all get your chance to pay your dues to Lord Hamley, you hear? So no pushing.
Why does Lord Hamley need all that food? He's got more than enough.
Shut it, woman. Smear your face with dung and lower your head. It's the only way you get out of here alive. It's no coincidence that Hamley always asks for women to bring the tributes.
Oh, shut up.
I want to go home.
Oi, you there. Yes, I meant you. That's a pretty face you got there. You're coming with me.
What? Leave her. Take me instead.
Well, whatever. You'll walk to the other side of the yard and talk to Walter. He'll get you settled. And don't you dare stray from the path.
Are you all right?
What, just because Lord Hamley insists on women to deliver the tributes, don't mean you have to send your youngest and prettiest. Fools.
What are you doing here? You need to leave. Don't come any closer. William has me watched.
What's taking so long?
I forgot the pork. I'll be out shortly. Wait a moment, then follow me. We don't have much time. Hugh will look for me any moment now. So why did you come?
There's an army of outlaws hiding in the woods waiting for my signal. You need to be out of the way when they come.
But I mustn't leave.
They're very angry at your husband's family, and I want you to be safe.
Will people die?
Yes, people will die. That's why you have to come with me.
I can't. Not without Lady Regan. You need to save Lady Regan first.
I can try, but I can't promise.
I won't leave until I know she's safe. I'm sorry.
Hurry up in there! Or do you want me to come in and pull you out?
I need to go. Maybe Walter can take you to Lady Regan.
Walter? William's dog?
Don't call him that. He's not as bad as people say he is. William won't allow me to talk to him anymore. Now Lady Regan is all I have left. Please, please be careful.
I will. Elizabeth claims you aren't such a bad person after all.
Am I not? Have you forgotten that I killed your family's steward?
You got problems over there, Walter?
Tell your guard to stand down. Have a heart.
So you think I'm a nice bloke, and you give me orders on how to handle my men? Don't make me laugh. Hugh!
What?
If you help me, we might be able to prevent a bloodbath. Let us end this in peace.
I don't believe you. But it's not up to me to judge these things. I'll take you to Lady Hamley. She'll decide. My lady?
Elizabeth, could you get me some water, dear?
Yes, my lady. But first, I need you to wake up, my lady. There is someone who wants to see you. It's the Lady Aliena.
The Lady Aliena? When did that bitch become nobility again?
I'm sorry for intruding, but this is very important.
Important? As if anything you have to say could be of any importance to me.
I'm certain you've heard about the treaty the king made with Duke Henry at Wallingford Castle.
I have. I have also heard that it's a muddled mess.
It is a complicated deal indeed, but one that will end the war. And one that makes my family the rightful owners of this earldom once more.
Only by word. There's no one who would come to enforce this, not even the king.
You need to understand that there is great anger among the peasants of Shiring. Anger against your son, against you, even against that poor woman, Elizabeth. If your son doesn't step down, the people will take their land back by force.
That's a lie. My William is a better earl than your father ever was. To think that I once wanted to marry my good William into a family like yours. Not a day goes by when I am not glad that God saved us from that horrible fate.
Please, my lady, you need to hear her out.
Oh, my dear Elizabeth, don't you see what she is trying to do to us?
I promised your son's wife that I'd make certain you'd be safe.
Safe from what? From a pack of impotent monks?
My lady, the Lady Aliena came here to make things better.
She has only ever made things worse. She mocked my son for wanting to marry her.
She had every right to deny him.
What? How can you say that? He is your husband. He's good to you.
If it wasn't for Walter, I'm sure William would have killed me already.
I have an army outside the gates, ready to attack.
What?
It's up to you if this ends in a bloodbath or not.
Oh!
It's all up to you.
In the name of the true Earl of Shiring, make them suffer!
They're coming.
Mother? Mother, we're being attacked.
What's going on here? What's that bitch doing here?
She's trying to bargain.
She's trying to take everything.
Is she? Is she now?
Leave it.
Shut up, old man. Cut that whore up, Walter!
No. You brought this on yourself.
You bloody traitor! Someone get up here! Men! You will pay. You will all pay for this.
Is he dead?
He is. William Hamley is dead.
What now?
Now, we tell his men.
Stop! Stop fighting! Drop your weapons immediately!
Behold the banner of the new Earl of Shiring!
Everyone, listen! Lord Hamley is dead! The castle now belongs to the former Earl's family again.
What? You're shitting us!
It was the King's wish.
Who killed him?
He died by my hand. My name is Lady Aliena of Shiring. I'm the daughter of Bartholomew, the former Earl of these lands. I've been tasked to end the tyranny of William Hamley and restore order to Shiring.
Our occupation of Shiring has been made unlawful. Every attack on us is sanctioned by the King of the English.
So what will happen to us then? I shall tell the King that William Hamley forced you to do his bidding.
You will get your chance for redemption by helping the people of Shiring recover from your own cruelty, and by rebuilding their homes and tending to their fields.
Ali, I know that you're a much better leader than I. Without you, we would never have come this far. You never hesitated with swearing and fulfilling the oath to father. In the end, I will be the Earl in name only, but you shall be the true ruler of Shiring.
Don't say that. We'll do it together.
Let's discuss this later. I owe you a lot, Ali. The tyranny of William Hamley is over! The Earldom of Shiring belongs to its rightful heir. Send a messenger to Kingsbridge to let Prior Philip know that Shiring is finally free!
What is it? Why are they laughing?
You can send a messenger if you want. But there won't be much of a prior left when he arrives.
Ali, what's going on?
The Pope believes we should either burn him or make him Bishop of Kingsbridge.
I have already taken matters into my own hands. My men arrested him while Kingsbridge was left unguarded.
While his friends took Earl's Castle?
Yes.
At least in his death, William Hamley was of use to you.
Look at all these people. Seems like they're enjoying themselves.
They never change. You drooling dogs should be ashamed!
Shut up, you old hag!
Ellen?
I'm not feeling well.
I'll stay with you. Go ahead, we'll come after you. Quick, you can't be too late.
Is your mother ill?
It's not that. This is where they hanged my father.
The trial begins. The judges, brother of Stephen, King of the English, the Right Reverend Bishop Henry of Winchester, Her Highness, the Countess Lady Aliena of Shiring. Presiding over the trial, the Right Reverend Bishop of Shiring and Kingsbridge, Waileron Bygod.
Please. The Church is not without fault. We have gathered here today, before the eyes of God, to accuse one of our own. He wrote in his book that the Church and the papacy are not necessary as intercessors between God and man. That God is in man, that all men are equal, and that each sinner is as close to our Lord as the Pope himself. Now, we ask God for his judgment. For his is the kingdom, the power, and the glory. Not ours, and not yours. You stand accused of heresy. Philip of Gwynedd, how do you plead? Answer!
I am not guilty.
Your teachings speak another language. Guilty, I say.
I am deeply saddened. It may come as a surprise to you, but we had hoped to make you Bishop of Kingsbridge. Why has it come to this, Philip?
In part, I am to blame. I supported Philip in his early years. I demand that Philip be removed from his position of prior immediately.
No!
And that he remain in captivity until such time that Shiring and all of England have healed from the poisonous words he has dispersed.
No!
What? Yes?
You are accusing Philip because he has defied you.
I made him prior, and grateful he was not. But no, I accuse him because his teachings are false. And I intend to prove that Philip's decisions have been more than misguided in the past. Call in Remigius.
The Prior of Shiring, Father Remigius.
My bishop.
Tell the court, Remigius, what you have told me.
For many years, I served as sub-prior of Kingsbridge. First for Prior James, then for the accused.
What was your first impression of him?
I was offended by his bluntness and accusations during the chapter discussions.
What else?
Prior Philip did not hesitate to give refuge to the people fleeing Earl's Castle in the winter that our king died.
Is that not a good deed? A true Christian act?
You do not know him as well as you think you do, Lady Aliena. Today, that will change.
The future master builder of our cathedral and his woman were among those taking refuge. They were living in sin. They were unmarried and fornicating. Philip allowed them to stay.
Why would he do that?
I do not know, my bishop.
Maybe because he himself was involved in similar affairs. We will see.
Then, on the day of our first Fleece Fair, we were attacked.
I heard. It was terrible.
I tried to soothe the woman's pain by reading the scripture to her. The builder's woman I have spoken of tried to put a spell on her with poisonous herbs.
And Philip intervened?
Yes. He pushed me aside and gave the woman poison.
He should have.
It is worse than I thought.
It was no poison.
And then there was the day the Virgin Mary's statue arrived in Kingsbridge. I did not believe it was a miracle.
The Virgin Mary. Of course it's a miracle. I
The Virgin Mary herself spoke to me.
Me too.
Clearly, it is a miracle. I hear of many who were healed in Kingsbridge.
Yes.
Amen.
Oh, Mary, bless us all.
Well, I soon realized it was a true miracle, but Philip did not. He was only after the money people donated at the Virgin's shrine. That is why I left.
He had to. Amen.
I believe there is one more thing you have not told us about. Something very important.
Yes. Philip has fathered a child!
Unbelievable! I knew it!
A son. And he raised him in the priory.
He is guilty!
Jonathan of Kingsbridge, step forward.
This is preposterous.
Is it?
Is this true? Are you Philip's son? Answer the question, Jonathan of Kingsbridge.
I have no father.
Everyone has a father.
That may be. But if Philip was my father, he would have told me.
How do you know he did not lie to you?
Speak. Answer the bishop.
Philip would never lie. He told me that I was found in the woods.
In the woods? Is this true, Philip? Or are you lying? Well, you told the story so many times.
He was abandoned in the woods. My brother found him.
Your brother? The brother whose master you betrayed?
What are you talking about?
Philip tried to involve me in a conspiracy against his brother's master, Earl Robert of Gloucester. And his ally, Earl Bartholomew, your father, Lady Aliena. Philip took in all those refugees years ago because he was to blame for their fate, as he was for yours when you lost your father and your earldom. That, Lady Aliena, is the man you are trying to protect. Well?
I know that he is a troubled man. We've all had to make hard decisions. Decisions that seemed right at the time, when indeed they were terrible mistakes. I am thankful that I was forgiven when I made a mistake. Now I forgive him. Let us now return to the problem at hand. There is a man who witnessed how Jonathan was found in the forest. A man who can shed light on who Jonathan's father really is.
And who is that?
My husband.
Step forward. What is your name?
He is the master builder of Kingsbridge.
Have you lost your courage?
No, I have not. You know well why it would be hard for me to face you. They call me Jack, after my father. My name is Jack Builder.
Yes, we have met before.
How old were you when you allegedly saw Jonathan as a child in the woods?
12. But I know what I saw. Philip told the truth.
You were a child. And what were you doing there, in the woods?
I was living in the forest, with my mother.
They were outlaws.
Prior Remigius is the most trustworthy witness we've seen today, and his statement was quite damning to Philip. The distant memories of an outlawed child cannot convince me otherwise.
He fathered a child!
Let him go!
He would never do that!
And yet, Lady Aliena is right. We do not know enough to judge him as harshly as you proposed, Bishop Waleran.
You are right, Bishop Henry. As I said, it is not up to us to judge this man. Philip of Gwynedd has pleaded innocent, but how innocent is he? We ask God for his judgment. As Bishop of Kingsbridge and Shiring, I demand an ordeal by fire.
This is madness!
Philip of Gwynedd will be tried and judged at the stake. If he is innocent, God will save him from the flames. If he is not, then he will burn as the heretic and sinner God has declared him to be.
No! Waleran, by God! Not this time.
It's her.
I saw the child and Francis. I was there. Philip is not the child's father. He is a fool, but he is a good man.
Then, who is the father?
Tom Builder.
They are all in this together. This woman is a witch and an outlaw, living in sin with a thief. He was hanged in Shiring 30 years ago.
He was not a thief. He was a good man. You've murdered him, Waleran, by God.
What is this nonsense?
He was a thief. He stole a golden chalice and melted it down and sold it.
What chalice?
The chalice of the Eucharist. He stole it from the Cathedral of Kingsbridge.
Sacrilege.
Yes, Prior James of Kingsbridge caught him red-handed.
Is that the chalice? You said it was melted down and sold.
Fall not for their lies. That could be any chalice. This does not prove a thing.
Where did you find this chalice?
In a secret chamber. We believe Prior James hid it because he felt guilty for falsely accusing Jack's father.
What proof do you have?
He told me. The night the cathedral burned down, I was there, I saw him.
Prior James died weeks before that.
No, he did not.
Bishop Henry, he speaks the truth.
Order! I will give you until sunset to produce a witness who can prove your accusations against Bishop Waleran. Not just this chalice. If you fail to do this, I will make sure you are tried for defamation. Philip of Gwynedd, you will stay under arrest. The trial recommences at sunset.
We need a witness.
What are you doing there?
I've seen you draw up plans for a cathedral. Maybe we can do something similar to find our witness. Let's see. Your father.
He looks just like you.
My grandmother said he did.
And Bishop Waleran. What are the connections? Maybe By exploring them, we can find a witness.
Good idea.
Mother says Waleran was behind my father's death.
And she said he wasn't alone. There were 3 men responsible for your father's death. Bishop Waleran, Percy Hamley, back then he was the Sheriff of Shiring, and Prior James of Kingsbridge.
If they were all there, then they were all witnesses.
And only Waleran's still alive.
Hardly a coincidence. Why would these 3 men work together to falsely accuse your father?
He was on the White Ship. No one survived that night. No one lived to tell the story.
Yes. He was the sole survivor.
And then they killed him. But why? And what about the ship?
The White Ship. Had those on board survived, there would have been no war, no anarchy.
My father might still have been alive.
And mine.
Why would Waleran, Percy, and James be concerned about the White Ship?
The son and heir of King Henry was on board. So were other possible heirs and other members of the royal household. I heard that Stephen was supposed to be on the ship as well, but became ill. He was the only male heir. The only threats were the king's daughter Maud and her half-brother Earl Robert, and they've been at war ever since.
And your father, Earl Bartholomew. He was a threat. He tried to stop Stephen and paid for that with his life. Maybe my father saw something on the White Ship. Proof that Stephen was involved.
What about the king? Do you really believe the king is involved in all this?
Well, that would at least explain why Waleran asked Bishop Henry to be part of this trial.
Right. He's Stephen's brother. They seem to have known each other for a long time.
As a child, I thought the king would be a hero. Like Alexander the Great.
If the White Ship is involved, then it's likely that Waleran was told by King Stephen to murder your father.
But he was not king back then. Why would Waleran listen to him?
He was promised to become bishop.
Of course.
Remember, Bishop Henry is Stephen's brother, and back then he was already one of the most influential clerics in all of England.
But if Bishop Henry is in on all this, what chance do we have to turn this trial around?
It is a public trial. All we want is for Philip to go free. We find a witness to expose Waleran. Henry would have to play along to appear innocent.
Are you sure that's a good idea?
It's our best shot.
Do you think the king told James to arrest my father?
No. I find it much more likely that James was instructed to frame your father by Waleran, his superior. As Archdeacon, Waleran was much more involved in politics than James would have been.
So, what about Prior James and Waleran?
Waleran was not yet bishop when the hanging took place. He was archdeacon. Philip told me.
But James still had to do what Waleran told him to?
I think that's very likely.
Percy Hamley was poisoned.
One less witness that knew about Waleran.
And Waleran probably wanted William to become Earl. He was easier to control than his father.
What about Regan Hamley? She survived.
She was taken to her townhouse in Winchester. And in her condition, she might not be able to help at all.
James was the prior of Kingsbridge.
That's where they say your father stole the chalice, melted it and sold it.
But we know that's not true.
As we found it, Philip recognized the chalice.
But Bishop Henry wants a witness. The chalice isn't enough.
But it's an important lead for us. I think we're getting closer.
James claimed that your father had stolen the chalice and sold it. But instead, James himself hid it in Kingsbridge, in the crypt.
We found his scourge in a bed down there.
That secret chamber is important.
Why did his monks believe he was dead?
Sub-Prior Remigius told everyone he had found James' rosary by the river. So everyone thought the body had been washed away. They buried an empty casket.
But how is Remigius involved?
Philip told me that Remigius was there when Waleran made Philip prior. Waleran and Remigius knew each other.
That explains why Waleran later made Remigius prior of Shiring.
And Remigius recognized my mother when we arrived in Kingsbridge. He must have been there at the time my father was arrested. I think Remigius knows all about this.
Is it possible that Waleran told Remigius to make Prior James disappear when James began to talk about what they'd done?
When James started talking to the devil.
But for some reason, Remigius hid him away. But Waleran never knew. Yes, that explains why he really didn't believe you. When you said you had seen James in the fire.
Where James died after all. And Remigius thought no one knew.
We have to find Remigius. He's our witness.
Let's hurry. It's getting dark already. The trial will continue soon.
People know you two. You shouldn't walk around shiring like that.
He's right.
I'll go look for him.
All right. Take care of yourself. And Jonathan.
Yes?
We will talk later about what was said today. About Tom.
All right. Remigius, now where are you?
Do you want to go in, Father?
No, not yet. Thank you.
Are you not with Prior Philip?
Yes, I am.
I pray they'll set him free.
He's a good man.
He is a heretic!
You're fools! Look at yourselves! Who are you to judge a man who has never hurt anyone?
Forgive them, Father.
We don't judge him, but God will!
Remigius? I don't think he's here. Wait, was that him? I think I saw him. Hello? The door's open. Is anyone there?
You had one task.
By God! No!
Our bishop is very displeased.
No! What are you doing?
I'm doing what is asked of me.
Stop it!
No! Stay away! This does not concern you!
No! Who told you to do this?
No one.
Why did he do this to you?
I will tell you. I will tell everyone.
Do you have a witness?
Father Remigius, Prior of Shiring.
Where is Timothy?
What they told you is true. Bishop Waleran wanted the jongleur Jacques Cherbourg dead. He ordered our Prior James to frame him. And so he did.
This is a lie!
Is it?
James lost his mind because of what he did for you. He was about to tell everyone the truth. And then you ordered me to kill him.
Nonsense!
Let him speak!
I couldn't do it. I hit him, but he died in the fire. Jack saw him. It was him. I found the bones after the fire, and I buried them.
You should put an end to this, Henry. You really should.
Why would I?
You should stop this, for your own sake. You knew about all this.
Why would I care if that jongleur lived or died?
Your brother cared. The jongleur survived the sinking of the White Ship. He saw how your brother's men killed the king's family so that he could take the throne.
This is preposterous.
Bishop Henry and King Stephen ordered us to kill the man. You want the truth? That's the truth. Right there.
It is not. Waleran is a liar.
Regan Hamley.
Who is she?
I have waited long enough for this day. It is time I raise my voice. The woman, Ellen, she spoke the truth. 3 men were responsible for the death of the jongleur. James, the Prior of Kingsbridge. The Sheriff, my husband, Percy Hamley. But it was Waleran who was behind it. And only Waleran.
No!
He had heard rumors about the White Ship, about our king. He had hoped to win the king's favor by hanging an innocent man.
But it was not just me. They all knew.
Take him away.
This is for taking my husband's life.
It was Waleran!
Oh, we did it. It's over.
Yes, it's over.
Thank you, Lady Hamley.
This monk must learn his lesson.
The Pope would agree. This trial is not over. Philip pleaded not guilty, but he challenged the teachings and the authority of the Church. The ordeal of fire will take place. To show that the Church is not above God, to show that my brother, the King of the English, is not above God. Not we, but God shall judge this man.
This is madness!
No! He can't do this!
Philip! No! You cannot do this!
This is now a matter of the church, Lady Aliena. My brother, the king, and I accepted the traitor Waleran into our midst. We were fools and sinners, even if we did not know. I pray that our Lord will save Philip from these flames, for his salvation shall be a salvation for all of us sinners.
Our Father, who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done, on earth as it is in heaven.
Light the pyre!
My God, there must be something we can do!
Stop this madness!
Ah, Philip.
It is so good to see you, Jonathan.
Tell me, how are things at St. John in the Forest?
Francis is well.
That is wonderful.
Yes, he enjoys the life there. You look worried, Jonathan.
Well, you have a visitor. He just arrived.
Is that not a good thing, Jonathan? Who is it?
That is just it. I wasn't sure if you wanted to see him.
It has been a long time.
Ah, yes, it has. I had to know.
Know what?
The truth is, I never saw God. Or the devil. Have you?
Oh Lord, deliver us from evil. Our Father, who art in heaven,
My God,
hallowed be
there
thy
must
name.
be something we can
Thy kingdom
do!
come,
Stop this
thy will be done on earth as it is
Are
in
you
heaven.
blind? Do you not know that a fire will burn any man, no matter who he is?
Why are you doing this?
After Waleran's words, there is doubt in their hearts about my motives, about my brothers. No words can erase that doubt, but God can. Our Lord is a cleansing fire.
He's still alive. It's a miracle. He is among us. God is here.
is this possible?
It's all a matter of perspective.
We have to stop this!
No, Jack. Come.
My God.
No, but that's what they see. That's what they believe.
The water. It's dousing the flames. It's a trick.
To them, it's a miracle.
The justice of our church. I believe Philip understands that now. His book will be destroyed. If you or your friends ever mention the White Ship again, I promise you will take Prior Philip's place. And God will not be as forgiving.
Their faith in you and your church is restored. I say it was worth sparing that monk's life. Promise me that Waileran will suffer.
Philip?
Yes?
Did you see God? Did he save you that night?
I told him. He only smiled at me. I never saw him again, as long as I lived.
Philip is back.
Philip!
Did you walk all the way? Again?
Just part of it.
Old fool.
Ellen stayed in Kingsbridge. I thought I had lost God, that he did not watch over us. But now I see him every day. He is in the good we do, in how we show our love. Jack's hands had become rough, his hair gray, but his eyes still burned bright like hot coals.
It's good to see you.
Aliena's gaze could be as stern as her father's had been, but her heart and wit made her a leader people did not follow out of fear, but out of respect and loyalty.
Jonathan told us you had a visitor.
Just an old friend.
What do you think of this window?
Jonathan came to look more and more like his father, Tom. As Prior of Kingsbridge, he is also a builder of sorts.
I use mostly warm colours. What good are the large windows if it feels cold?
Sally is as stubborn and as gifted as her parents. It is her stained glass windows the light is falling through. She has children of her own now.
And I'd like to show you the plans for the new cloister.
Tommy will be the next master builder, and is as silent as his grandfather was. Once I heard him admonish his father to be more serious at work. Jack only smiled. He knew Tommy was right. Martha stayed in Kingsbridge as well. She was always there for every one of us.
Is the judge done now?
I don't know. Why don't you ask him yourself?
Is the judge done now?
It will never be done. Not in my lifetime. Not in yours.
Remember us for what we did, for who we were, and maybe for what we tried to be. And when you turn your eyes to our cathedral, maybe you will see yourself.